Just kind of to go over what we're doing, this is gonna be our kind of college and career planning session. We'll meet again next Tuesday, so don't miss school on Tuesdays, okay, guys? And we'll kind of go over some ground rules on how this will work. Today's gonna be really brief, 10 minutes, that's it. I'm gonna kind of introduce what we're doing and get you started on a little homework assignment, and we'll touch base again next Tuesday. Sound good?
Good.
We're gonna go through basic introductions. I know you guys know each other, but just in case you forgot somebody's name at the table, we'll go ahead and share our name and maybe tell us a little bit about your favorite senior class you're taking. Which class is it you're taking this year that's your favorite, okay? And then my video recorder, give me a sign when we hit about 10 minutes. Sound good? Okay. Let's start with, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yes.
My name's Aldo Castillo, and my favorite class I'm taking would be the ROP construction class.
Very nice. Okay.
And my name is Beatrice Marina, and my favorite class is Anthony AMR.
My name is Esperanza, and my favorite class is AP Psychology.
Very nice.
My name is Andrew Rodriguez, and my favorite class is AP French, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Ron Deborah, and my favorite class I think is math.
Math.
Yeah.
I like the diversity we have going on. So to get started today, I just want everybody to understand when we're talking as a group, I want you to rely on each other in your discussions, okay? Everybody at this table is gonna be kind of, coming to the table with their own knowledge base, so listen to each other. I won't always have the answers. Sometimes the answer is among you, so use each other to kind of learn what the process is for next steps in terms of planning for our futures. And make sure that you don't interrupt anybody, okay, who's talking. Listen and wait your turn. And anything we talk about today, will stay in this room in terms of, you know, if somebody shares something about their future plans or anything like that, don't go tell other people what their future plans are, because for one, that might change, right? And we're free to change our minds. What we talk about today might not be our goals for next week, and that's okay. We can change our minds, and we also just want to make sure that our conversations are ours, and we don't want to share them outside this room. Of course, you can always share your own thoughts with your parents or whoever you want, but we won't share each other's. Does that make sense?
Good.
Okay. So that's kind of our ground rules. And I thought we would start today just by talking about our feelings at the current moment. Okay, thinking about, I'm a senior, I don't necessarily know what my plans are next year. How are we feeling? Anybody want to start?
I guess like scared, because I don't know what I'm gonna be doing after I graduate, or like if I'm gonna be working, or I just don't know what I'm doing after.
Okay. Who's feeling the same way?
I do.
Yeah?
Like that.
Scared?
I'm not
Nerve-
scared, but just like nervous, like kind of know what to do.
Okay.
I think.
So you're nervous because you're not sure what you want to do. Okay. What about you, Destiny?
I'm scared and curious.
Scared but curious. Why are you scared?
Because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay.
But I know for sure that I'm going to go to school. But I don't know where.
But you don't know where. I understand. Aldo?
Like I'm pretty nervous because like I have like a lot of choices, but I don't know which one. Like, I'm excited.
Right. You don't know which college you want to choose or what career path?
Yeah.
Okay. Emmanuel, how you feeling?
Well, I think I'm disappointed because I feel like I'm not gonna be able to go 4 years straight,
Okay.
but maybe a community college. So
Okay. I'm disappointed.
yeah, I would like my work from freshman and sophomore.
Sounds like we're all kind of having similar feelings right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's normal. It's really normal senior year to be feeling anxious, maybe even a little disappointed, not sure what you're gonna do. So my goal with us as we kind of continue next week and the week after is to help you feel more comfortable about at least your next steps in your planning process, right? What am I gonna do next year? Maybe you don't know what you're gonna study, maybe you don't know where you're gonna go to school, but, maybe by the end of this, you'll also be comfortable not knowing, and you'll have at least a plan in terms of maybe by the time we walk away from this, we'll have, 10 schools or 10 options that we'll look at. And I'll tell you what, you're not gonna know for sure 100% what you're doing next year until the very end of this year. But if we take some baby steps these next couple weeks, we can walk away with maybe a better understanding of our options. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
So I wanna ask you, before I give you some first steps in the planning process, what do you think, some good first steps will be to plan out for next year?
Try out some of those careers you're looking into, like maybe RLP classes.
Okay.
Internships?
Internships, ROP classes. How else can we plan out for next year?
Visiting one of the campuses?
Okay, visiting different colleges.
Well, one new stuff that they told me I was just here was because I met some lady. I think she's a counselor there, and she told me that it's really good to know what you want to do before going in, and if you could get the chance to call the professor even before time to say that you're doing that class, that he recommends you taking any classes or anything to just be prepared.
Okay. I like that. Sometimes we don't always know what we're gonna do though, right? So sometimes that's the first step, trying to figure out what we're interested in studying or what our interests are in career. And if we don't know that, then maybe our next step is just looking for schools that kind of have a broad option of studies. That way we can try out a bunch of things and experiment when we do get to college. Any other ideas, Andrew, for next steps?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So here's where I think we should start. Let's open up our folders. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of homework for our next meeting. Okay, on the first page of your folder, you can see your transcript, your high school transcript. And right behind that is a pink sheet that has our college requirements for Cal States and UCs, okay? So spend some time going over your transcript and see if you're eligible for the Cal State or UC option, and if you're not, I'll tell you, that does not mean you can't go to a 4-year. It just means that we won't be able to apply to these specific schools, okay? So those of us that are A through G eligible, you get to pull off of your Cal State and UC option list, and those of you that aren't, we're gonna be paying attention to those community colleges, but we're also gonna be paying attention to private schools. Because sometimes private schools have different requirements for admission. So just because you don't meet the requirements on that pink paper, doesn't mean that you can't go to a 4-year or apply to a 4-year. It just means we're gonna apply to different kinds of 4-years, okay? First thing I want you to do after that, after you check your requirements, let's look at the next packet in your paper. Behind the pink sheet, you with me, Andrew?
Yeah.
Let's look at the next page. It's worksheet number 5 behind your pink sheet. Okay, this is gonna give you some ideas for looking into different schools, okay? Things to think about, like the size of the school. Do I wanna go to a small school? Do I wanna go to a big school? Do I want to, what kind of size school do I want to go to? And as you flip through that, it's gonna give you some other qualities colleges have, like the academic environment or the location. Think, do I wanna stay close to home? Am I willing to go out of state for school? The farther away you're willing to go, sometimes the more options we have in terms of schools. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want you tonight or during SSR today, cause you will have some time at the end of this, go through this and think, where do I fall in these qualities? What am I looking for in the school? Am I looking for a small school, big school? Where am I looking for that school? Go through these qualities and write down your answers to some of the survey questions that go with them, okay? Behind that then is going to be a